and then suddenly they say, well, his ulna got too long. That's kind of what you're dealing with, okay? And the ulna didn't get long, the radius got short.
Good morning. Happy Friday. I have Neuro Coffee in hand and it is perfect. That's really good. Okay, busy Friday today. Quick housekeeping note. I did close the application process to the Intensive 14. We hit our number there. So we'll be going through those applications, doing the blind readings here pretty soon. And we'll notify attendees, I believe it's by July 8th on that. Since we're kind of busy today, I've got to dig into today's Q&A. This is with Michael, and this is from yesterday's Coffee and Coaches conference call. Really good question. Kind of builds on a video that I did a while back. I did a too simple solution for the pain you get with presses and push-ups and being down on all fours. And we talked a little bit about the orientation here and a little bit more of the solution as to why you would approach this in a certain way because of the way that the mechanics interact, especially at the wrist and the interaction between the radius and ulna. And so again, I think you'll find this this very, very useful. Don't forget, when you go to the YouTube page to take a look at that too simple solution, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you would like to participate in a free 15-minute consultation, please go to askbillhartman@gmail.com, askbillhartman@gmail.com. Put 15-minute consultation in the subject line of your email. Give me a heads up on what kind of a question you're going to ask as well. That's always helpful. And then we will arrange that at our mutual convenience. Everybody have an outstanding Friday. I will see you all next week.
Yeah, so I have a new client, and he has two issues that I know we've talked about and you've gone over, but applying it to someone in front of me, I've just forgotten exactly what to do. So first is he has lateral wrist pain whenever so he initially said started 6 years ago when he was a waiter. He had to hold it here.
Okay.
And now, like, I'm having him doing crawling, so he can bear it. He can get through it. But I ask him if he has any discomfort, and he does say yes. So I'd like to get rid of that. So I'm thinking, I only had a couple sessions with him, so I'm thinking sideline driving pronation, or am I on the right track of driving pronation to open that up?
So let's talk about the wrist position that creates this first.
Yeah.
All right. How old is this guy?
He's 26.
Okay. So he's 26 years old, and his it's the right side?
Yes.
His right ulna just grew an extra centimeter relative to all the other bones in his body. And they want to cut off the end of his ulna. Has anybody ever heard that one? Anybody ever seen a distal ulnar excision? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you take somebody that apparently has a fully calcified skeleton, and then suddenly they say, well, his ulna got too long. That's kind of what you're dealing with, okay? And the ulna didn't get long, the radius got short, okay? When in normal, like if you had like totally average everything, full movement capabilities, in pronation, as you take the palm down, the radius moves over the ulna. You understand that concept, right? Okay. Because you're taking a bone that was relatively straight and you're putting it on an angle, its distance from the elbow is shorter, right? It's like the it becomes like sort of like the I don't want to say it's the hypotenuse in the triangle because the triangle is changing shape, but anyway, radius gets shorter relative to the ulna by its distance from the elbow, which makes the ulna appear to be longer. And that's normal. That happens under every circumstance, assuming normal anatomy, which means that you lose, in pronation, you lose ulnar deviation and extension by traditional measures. Okay? So if you put somebody in all fours and they get they'll get pain on the back of their wrist, or they'll get ulnar side wrist pain. All right? He is living sort of in this pronated representation. So when he was a waiter, and I'm just throwing this out there since you brought it up, when he was a waiter, he had to do like the early stage of an overhead press all the time. Chances are he eventually did do some overhead pressing with the the position of the wrist that we're talking about. So if he has an adaptation in the radius that causes an inward rotation, that can be part of it. But there's a couple things you might have to do. If he has a pronated hand relative to the wrist, right? And that's, you can do your little apple test, okay? Where you go like that, and then you release it. And if it doesn't go any farther, then chances are you've got eccentric orientation of abductor pollicis longus, which means you do have a pronated hand. Then you're going to need to untwist the hand, right? Which is going to require supination relative to the rest of the forearm. Okay, so you could do like a supinated, bent over elbow extension with a cable. Okay, bent over in internal rotation. Okay, that'll get the hand orientation to come back. Okay. Sometimes you can do a curl in the same position with the thumb pressing into the to the dumbbell, so you get the concentric orientation back along the radial side of the thumb. Okay, so those two positions are useful. Then, if he's missing a lot of shoulder internal rotation, then you can do like a side plankish oblique sit kind of a thing with pronation. So you're going to internally rotate, internally rotate, internally rotate, internally rotate together. Okay. But I would caution you that with the hand in the pronated position, I would take a folded towel and I would put it under this part of the hand, because I don't want this part of the hand to pronate. I want this part of the hand to pronate. Okay. Because chances are he was pronating this part already. So he was already in this orientation. So if I block this part like that, then I can get internal rotation. I get all internal rotations without the excessive pronation of the hand orientation, because that's where he's symptomatic, right? So I want everything to turn together under these circumstances to restore IR, 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 and then IR here. So you have to reorient the hand first to review. Reorient the hand first, okay? That's going to require a supinatory activity, and then turn everything into internal rotation together. And again, I didn't measure the guy, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants a little bit here, okay?
Right.
But at least the orientation, I'm fairly certain that the orientation at the wrist is correct.